Hi everybody, I'm Joseph Bradley. I'm a journey healer and teacher. One of the things I'm doing a sequence on right now is from dark to light. It's about my life journey and how my experience and how I handled the dark side of myself and how I developed and continue to develop the light side of myself. Let's talk a little bit about balance today. What is balance to you? What is balance? It's a good question. Everybody could give you a different answer. One of the things I noticed for myself is when you bring the light side of yourself into balance is easy. Bringing the dark side of yourself into balance is a whole other ball game. I'm a professional Northern Lights photographer as well. And I spend a lot of time out at night. You can visit my website at www.josephbradleyroars.com, and you can also visit my spiritual website, almanrosawakening.com. To kind of give you an idea of what I've been doing for the last 10 years. The Northern Lights themselves kind of opened a part of myself up, the dark side of myself even more, and got me to really appreciate the night sky more than I ever thought possible. It's not just opening the dark side, it also opens the dark side of your soul. It gets you to understand what darkness is at a different way, a different perspective. My spirits have been getting me to work for the last years heavily on the dark side of myself. Because once you understand, respect, transform the chaos side of yourself, then you really truly understand love, balance, and delight. When there's a side of yourself is at a balance, everything is at a balance. You can't take a piece out of a wheel and expect it to flow. It's going to have major bumps along the way. However, if you smooth it out, and it'll be perfectly in balance. So how do you become balanced? It's a long time. It's a lifetime commitment. It's not something you just instantly say overnight, oh, I'm going to become balanced today. Because then it's only a temporary thing. And we all go in and out of this. We all go highs and lows throughout life. Life throws some pretty hard curveballs. And what do you do when you hit them curveballs? How are you going to handle them? Are you going to cry in bed for weeks, days, years? Are you going to knock the dust off yourself and pick yourself back up and say, this sucks? And sometimes it sucks a lot. But you have to say to yourself, how bad is it really? In the scheme of things, and the great thing about our world, it's very easy to look at the world, what people go through, and find somebody else is having a much shittier day than you, a much shittier month, year. There's always somebody having a much worse time. So it's easy to kind of look at that and say, it could be worse. But maybe you should look at it as saying, and it's a lesson, it's a learning thing. Okay, this happened. It happened for this reason. Or maybe you don't even know why it happened. But it's how we handle it that's important. It's the way we deal with the situation. So if something happens to you, a person dies, for instance, it's really close to you, how do you handle that? You're going to miss the person, especially if you're really close to them. So how do you handle it? What would the person want you to do that passed away? Would they want you to cry for months on end? Would they want you to not be able to go on with your life, or they want you to celebrate at least a little bit the person's life, the memories. That's what we should be doing. We were celebrating their life. I know if I ever died, I don't want people to be sad. I want people to be happy because I lived my life. I lived my life. So why be sad? We will miss the person, yes, but they are not gone. If anything, they will be closer to you than they ever have been in life. They will be able to help you in ways that the other person couldn't help you. I know it's harder when you lose a son, you lose a loved one, a wife, a partner, a father, a mother. It's hard. But what is life really meant to be? Are we supposed to sit down and grieve? Yes, but for how long? It's up to the individual, is it not? Grief is something that we need to look at it for what it really is. How far do we let it go? See, that's balance, isn't it? It's part of balance. It's part of balancing your life. If we allow things to overcome ourselves too much, we fall out of balance. If we allow the chaos side of ourselves to take over, to keep us in depression and agony and pain, suffering for too long, then we're out of balance. If we allow fear, anger, frustration to take over, we're also out of balance. But also out of balance on the light side of things. See, the light is kind of always in balance. Because as soon as the light goes out of balance, it becomes chaos. Darkness itself is not chaos. I had a journey not that long ago, and it was a part of myself that I was trying to look at as the chaos side of myself. I was offered the opportunity to either let it go or keep it. But then you look at it for what it is. Do you get rid of the hard parts of yourself, the chaos parts of yourself? Would that be in balance, or would that leave a hole? A hole that your strength comes from. A lot of our strength comes from the darkness, believe it or not. When you look at, they showed me, I was standing in the center. I had a neutral higher self and a neutral to the north, another neutral higher self to the south. I had 3 chaos versions of my higher self and 3 chaos versions of darkness. And on the other side, there was 6 light versions of myself. I stood in front of the chaos side of myself, and I seen every lifetime that I've ever lived. The suffering, the anguish, the pain that they went through. I did not have the right to take that part of myself away. All those lifetimes of suffering, so I could be who I am today. I had no right. I actually felt quite selfish to even think that it's something I wanted to do. And then the 3 higher self versions of myself were not in chaos. They were in balance. They balanced all the other lifetimes of chaos. So instead of shunning them, I kneeled down in front of them and showed my respects to everything that they have given up so I could be who I am today. The other three of darkness is a darkness of love. It is like being in the mother's womb. It's like looking up at the stars on a perfect starry night. It's like in a room completely at peace. It's like being by a campfire. It is so full of love and healing that we forget that darkness is not always chaos. The light side of myself, we're also all in balance, and so are the neutrality, because your higher selves are in balance. When you realize that every time we come here, we're here to learn something new about ourselves, to bring a part of ourselves more into balance every day. The earth is full of souls, soul fragments, so to speak, that have broken off and stay within the Mother Earth, and brings the earth at a balance, because there's too much darkness and chaos. We need to go and heal the dark sides of ourself. That will heal the vibration of the world. It will heal us. Not destroy the memories, but allows the memories to change so they become into balance. But the learning is still there. But the chaos is now in check. It doesn't control you, you control it. My higher self, then all those parts went into one part of myself, and my higher self was surrounded by rainbows, and then took off within a split second. See, we are made up of more than just light and dark. It's every shade in between. But it's important that we respect every part of who we are, to forgive the things that are unforgiven, because how are they ever going to heal? But I remember looking into the eyes of my higher selves of chaos, and I seen the sacrifice, I seen the strength. Just think about it. The hardest parts of our life is when we are the strongest. You might think we're weak at times, but we are at our strongest points. We are at our strongest when things are the worst. And then when we came out of that scenario, come out of that chaos, when everything gets put back into balance, then we really realize how strong we really are. Thank you very much. I'm Joseph Bradley. You can check out my website at www.amonrosstheawakening.com. Thank you very much. Have a good day.